What is up, fellow Neopians? My name is Chili. Welcome back to my channel. The Neopets economy is broken. Yeah. Like the stock market crash of year 6 levels of broken, inflation is running wild. Bots are farming items faster than the soup fairy can hand out her freebies, and with Neopoints getting sold on gold farming websites now, it's not really any kind of wonder that we're experiencing some unprecedented times here with the Neopets economy, I think is how the news would say that. TNT has implemented some tactics to combat inflation, and many of them take the form of something that they call a Neopoints sink. So what in the hell is a Neopoints sink? Well, it's not something that you can put in your Neo home. It's an in-game activity that removes Neopoints from circulation by offering you an enticing reward in exchange for a ridiculously high cost. And of course, it doesn't just, rely on our sense of civic duty to fix the economy, because that wouldn't fucking work. It dangles something shiny in front of our faces, an avatar, a rare item, or the faint delusional hope that this time we might actually get big money, no whammy. The goal here is to slow inflation by convincing you to fork over an absurd amount of Neopoints for stuff that you probably don't need but also desperately want. Some of the OG money drainers that they've been using to con us out of our Neopoints for years are things like the Hidden Tower, which is located in Fairyland. This is one of the OG luxury Neopoint sinks, hidden in plain sight for those of us who don't know where it is. Here it is, right here in Fairyland. Fiora has launched her, boutique tax laundering scheme and sells weapons, stamps, fancy-looking trinkets, and things like that for millions of Neopoints. And you know what? We pay it, baby. You know why? Because we can. Because avatars, and I don't even care if 99% of you think that avatars are pointless. The flex is immaculate, all right? I need them. I need all of them. Okay? Do you think that I went and spent all of my hard-earned Neopoints on that ridiculously high-priced fucking Hidden Tower capsule just to get an avatar? You bet your sweet ass I did. Yes, and I will wear that proudly. Another example is the Lever of Doom, which is an absolute masterpiece of psychological warfare. So you pay 100 Neopoints, you pull a lever, and then you lose that 100 Neopoints. And then you do it again. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe you're chasing the avatar. Maybe you're chasing a high. Maybe you think that there's some secret that TNT never revealed, or I don't know, maybe you just like pain. I think that that category should exist as well. Who knows? We also have the wheels. So you can spin your problems away, one overpriced click at a time. And there's a wheel for every mood, which is kind of fun. There's a wheel of excitement, a wheel of mediocrity, a wheel of monotony, a wheel of misfortune, and of course, a wheel of extravagance. They're very different, but what do they all have in common? Horrible odds and an irresistible urge to go ahead and spin anyways. I don't know why, but we are all just chasing that same shoyu together. Maybe this time I'll get the paintbrush. No, Deborah, you're going to get 37 Neopoints and you're going to get a renewed sense of betrayal. We'll see you tomorrow. Without these sinks, though, Neopoints start to accumulate indefinitely, and they really kind of stack up. And the more that people hoard and stack these Neopoints, the worse that inflation gets. When everyone's walking around with billions of Neopoints burning a hole in their digital pockets, the demand for rare items skyrockets. And when the demand goes up, but the supply stays the same, boom, prices inflate faster than a Blumaroo on a helium binge. They do inhalants, don't they? And it's not just the rare items. When the high-end items go up, the whole market goes haywire. It's kind of a rippling outward effect. Suddenly, even basic essentials like code stones and basic food start to climb faster than Tavi trying to save old Baelia the Burden from danger for the 10th fucking time. The gap between old money players and broke newbies who are just kind of entering the game starts to widen, and it really makes it harder for newbies to be able to get into the game and afford the basic items that it takes to progress through things. So longtime players kind of just toss around millions and millions of Neopoints like it's pocket change, and the other people are scraping through trying to get, I don't know, like peanuts to be able to feed their elefante. Bots definitely make this problem worse. Gold farmers are exploiting that game. Gold farmers will make mass amounts of accounts and use them to farm the game, essentially. God, why am I bad at this line? Imagine taking 10,000 accounts and going and playing the fruit machine. You're definitely going to end up with some of the rare items. So they use these kinds of exploits to farm all of these items together, and they get a bunch of sellable items, and then they take them to the trading post or to the auction house and they flip them. If the market gets flooded, maybe the price has gone down. We've all seen that happen before when we have things that go into the weekly prize pool, and suddenly the thing that you had 3 of in your safety deposit box went from being 500,000 Neopoints to being worth nothing. Thanks, capitalism. And if you don't believe me, just watch what happens every time a new item gets pulled from the weekly prize pool or another one gets put back in there. The stamp that's right next to the one that you needed in your stamp album is going to flood the market, and then suddenly the one that you actually need is going to skyrocket in price. And the next thing you know, you're printing out a picture of the collector's avatar and you're taping it to your monitor, because that's the closest that you're ever gonna get to getting that avatar. Sellable, consumable, collectible items seem to kind of be one of the biggest culprits of this because they disappear once they're being used. So it got me thinking, how can we solve this problem? Now, I'm no economist, I'm just a silly person on the internet, but I think it would be cool if we had a sink that costed more money, that rewarded players with items that couldn't necessarily be as easily resold, that introduced an anti-bot mechanism to help stop it from being exploited, and maybe one that rewarded you with some things that affected your account more, like changes to your pet or avatars. Ironically, there's a lot of things in this game that most people will fight tooth and nail and disagree on, and it's kind of entertaining actually to look at them fighting on the Neo boards. But there is one thing that most players do agree on, and that is the fact that the economy is fucked. And if you don't believe me, go lurk on Reddit sometimes for like 5 minutes, and you'll find that people are out here running like full-blown investigations and reports and spreadsheets and everything like that to show what the inflation has looked like over time. So if you ask me, Neopets players kind of fall into one of 2 categories. You're either a deeply analytical, socially awkward nerd with a spreadsheet addiction, or you are a hyper-nostalgic, neurospicy art nerd, probably a millennial, who's trying to escape the crushing weight of adulthood by force-feeding omelets to a virtual dragon. Luckily for you and the Neopets economy, I happen to be both, which is why I think that I figured out a good way that maybe we could address this whole mess. So we've got these Neopoint sinks, some clever, some unhinged, but here's the problem. Most of them are giving out way too many sellable items, and it's actually just kind of another thing that can be exploited for the bots to kind of go after. These sellable prizes, that's part of the problem, right? So if we really want to fix the economy, I think that this new sink needs to reward us with things that are not just sellable prizes. One that costs more, one that pays out in items that you can't resell, and it involves just, I don't know, a little bit of psychological suffering. Like, it just has to. So, I submit to you, for your approval, the Wheel of Insanity. Roo Island, the land of carefree fun, predatory boardwalk games, and one activity that you might have walked by 1,000 times without noticing. Mostly because it's not real, but in my headcanon it is, and this is where it would be. Right here. If you walk down the boardwalk of Roo Island, you might notice that there is a path that deviates off into the woods. And while it's a little creepy and a little shady, and you can kind of hear like off-key circus music, you eventually would stumble into a clearing where you would see the Wheel of Insanity. The wheel is operated by a yellow Blumaroo who swears that he is not from Jelly World and that Jelly World does not exist. He is yellow. He's quoted saying things when you approach the wheel, like, "Oh good, another curious tourist. Go ahead, take your time. It's not like I have anything better to do." Did you just say jelly paintbrush? This is not a paint job. This is a skin condition. But thanks for singling me out like that. And no, I don't know why the wheel is sticky. No, I'm not going to clean it. Spin it or walk away. No refunds. This is a kind of crappy visual representation of what I think that the Wheel of Insanity should be like. First and foremost, I made the sections different sizes because they're pretty much all equal on the other wheels, so I think that this would be kind of a cool dynamic. And with it being the Wheel of Insanity, I mean, they could, you know, not all necessarily correspond to how likely they actually are. That might be kind of fun if, like, shell game or something like that seems like it's super likely, but it's actually only like, I don't know, like a 1% chance or something like that. But let's go through the wheel really quick and break down what each of these 13 sections are, because I think that you guys are gonna like them. So here is a brief overview of what slices 1 through 13 would look like, and I just want to note that, like, this isn't the order that they would be in on the wheel necessarily, because it would be kind of lame to have like all the prizes on the same side of it and everything like that. It's just easier for me to go through the list like this, so just imagine that they're like randomly distributed throughout the wheel. Yeah, so let's get into it. Big shout out to Franny and the Neo Besties for helping me craft these ideas, by the way. Y'all are amazing. So the first one that I want to talk about is the sticky jelly coin, which is a non-tradable item. It's not a wearable, it's just something that goes into your inventory. And when you win this, you get text that says something like, the Blumaroo reaches into his pocket and pulls out a handful of sticky coins. Some fall on the ground, others remain stubbornly glued to his palm. Look, I'm feeling very generous today. Don't get used to it. And he flicks his wrist at you, and you get a sticky coin in your inventory. Now, after 24 hours in your inventory, that coin is going to melt into a melted jelly coin, and it's going to have the description, it was almost worthless when you got it, and now it's completely worthless. At this point, if you waited until it melted, then you can feed it to your pet. You could feed it before, but it would just eat it, nothing would happen, okay? But you waited, you were patient queen, and you fed it to your pet, and it made your pet sick. Your pet has something called jelly legs, but it also gives you an avatar called ground loot. And you get that for eating suspicious carnival floor scraps. And I think that that would be awesome. Space number 2 is going to be the Blumaroo's existential dread plushie. This is going to be an exclusive item that you can only get from this game. It's a wearable, and the description says, soft, squishy, and quietly judging you. It comes in 4 different random jelly colors. It's not transferable. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a cool special little item that like you can wear and people can be like, oh, wow, dang, dog, like you won that. That's cool. I also think it would be a fun dynamic on this one that maybe like 1 in 25 times when somebody lands on this, the Blumaroo sighs and he says, look, I'm out of these, okay? Here, whatever, just take this. And he hands you a jelly fairy doll. And that Franny, totally thank you so much for the idea of the jelly fairy, because the more that I think about a jelly fairy, the more obsessed with it I am. But I think that the jelly fairy doll should be tradable because I know that that's something that people do like collect and stuff like that. So it would be kind of fun to make that like one of the few tradable items that you can get from the Wheel of Insanity. But I don't know, I think that that would be a fun dynamic because when you land on that piece of the wheel sometimes, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, like, ooh, I wonder if I'll get the blue one. Like, I don't have that one yet, I have the other 3. And then it's like, no, bitch, you get a fucking jelly fairy doll. And I don't know, I just think that that would be super fun. The description on the jelly fairy doll would be something like, I don't know, like a wobbly, translucent fairy doll with a vaguely annoyed expression. It's sticky. I don't know, in my mind, like everything from Jelly World, which does not exist, by the way, is sticky. It would be sticky if it existed. If it existed, it would be sticky. So number 3, we have to, of course, have something to do with stamps, right? But we don't want to fuck the economy with stamps. So I was thinking it would be kind of fun to reimagine a stamp album in a way. So what if there was like a progress tracked collectible stamp album? So there was like 20 different stamps that you could get or something like that for this. So every time you landed on this pie slice, it would just random number generate one of the stamps that you don't have, so it wouldn't be possible to get duplicates. So like you just have to land on that one 20 times. I think that that would be kind of fun. But so the whole idea behind this is that Jelly Blumaroo went on a vacation all around Neopia and took a whole bunch of pictures. And these are the unhinged Polaroids of the Jelly Blumaroo's vacation. And there's going to be little captions under each of them. And you spin the wheel and it comes up and it will just show you the photo and auto edit to this album, and it'll give you the little caption. So it'll say something like, you know, day 4, lost at Mystery Island, ate half a coconut, regret everything. Stupid little, like, I imagine them being like Polaroids, and it's like day 1 through day 20, and they're all just all different parts all around Neopia. Like imagine like opening your backpack and like looking down inside of it and your camera like taking a picture of you, like as you're like trying to get inside your backpack to grab something, and then it just like hand scrawled on the bottom of it is just like day 7, climbed down Mount Shanku, fell halfway down, found a Band-Aid, found myself. Like a little heart in the corner. So if you collect all 20 of the unique stamps, then you earn a trophy for your lookup. You earn the Insanity Stamp Trophy, and it could be like, I don't know, like the Polaroid photo, or I don't know. If you have a good idea for what you think the trophy should be, put it down in the comments, because I would love to hear. I don't really have a good idea for what I think the trophy should look like. I just love the idea. Okay, number 4 is kind of like a lottery ticket, but it's not the normal lottery tickets. It's what we call the Jelly Jackpot. And this is a monthly drawing that happens. So if you win one of these tickets, your account is automatically added into this drawing. And on the first of the month at, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning or some shit, the drawing happens. And one person that was in that drawing will get awarded this item. And the item is going to be some sort of a rare jelly themed item. I think it would be really cool if it was a food that was like a gourmet or something like that. And this is one of the only other tradables that you can get from this wheel is that food item. So we have jelly fairy doll and we have tradable gourmet food item. If you get the item, you would get a message like in your Neo mail from the Blumaroo, and it would be like, oh hey, you know, this was like left on my countertop with your name on it a couple days ago. I figured I should probably give it to you. Huh, jelly again. Weird. I wonder why they keep giving us jelly items. Like, he just totally, like, is in complete denial about being jelly because, like, you can't be from a place that doesn't exist, right? So part of the dynamic of this is that not everything is going to be good. Like, that's a normal precedent that's been set with the wheels, is you're spinning them to try to win some sort of a prize, but sometimes you're going to get a horrible punishment. Sometimes it's just like, you know, fireballs falling on your pet and you need to get healed, but sometimes you can lose stats and you can have really expensive items get zapped and disappear from your inventory, so I wanted to kind of explore that a little bit here. So remember how I said that coin, you know, you can feed to your pet and gets you that avatar for ground loot? Well, there's also a section on the wheel here that will just give you jelly legs, but you don't get the avatar for it in this case. It just is a sickness, like a normal sickness that affects your pet. It's called jelly leg syndrome, and it prevents your pet from going into the battle dome and battling until you're able to cure it. Now, the symptoms are that your pet appears kind of wobbly, and there'd be like a green kind of tint to their portrait. If you were going to look at them, and they just look a little, you know, jello jiggler. They're not quite themselves. To cure this, all you have to do is feed them any kind of jelly item, and there'll be some kind of flavor text that happens when you land on the square, and it's like, you know, your pet's name. Legs have turned to jelly, like literally, like they need treatment before they can fight again. 6 is something a little different, but I think it would be kind of fun to do a funhouse filter, I guess I would call it, on your pet. So basically what this would be like is if you are spinning the wheel and you land on this section of it, it would get immediately applied to whatever your active pet is. And it would give it that distorted, wobbly kind of look like a funhouse mirror normally would, and that would be active on your pet for a week. So think of it like if you went into your customization and you applied a foreground filter over your pet. That's what it would look like, but you wouldn't be able to remove it. Even if you abandoned your pet, it would just be locked on your pet for a week. Okay, this next idea for number 7 is one that I'm kind of obsessed with, and I call it the Jelly Stalker. And what the Jelly Stalker is a time window that gets added to your account for random events to happen. So the Jelly Stalker is a mysterious jelly figure that appears when you're browsing on the webpage, and it like interacts with and looks at your inventory. And maybe this happens like maybe once every like 150 to 250 times that you're refreshing the page. So if you're playing something like NeoQuest, or if you're on Solitaire or something like that, then it might come up more often. But what he does is he looks in your inventory to see if you have any jelly food items. And if he does, he instantly removes that jelly item. And he scorns you and says something like, he sees that you have a jelly item and he disapproves, or something like that. And, you know, it could be a really nothing item, or it could be a really good item, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to take it. On the flip side of that, if he gets summoned and you don't have a jelly item in your inventory, it would say that he sees that you have no jelly items, and he gives you a random I don't know, Rarity 101 item or something like that to thank you for your service. It's not guaranteed to proc, but it could proc within 24 hours of you getting it. So it would really incentivize people, I think, to spend time on the site and refresh the page a lot and try to get that to happen so that you can, you know, try to get your item. So this next one is kind of fun. I just call it Ask Me About Jelly World. So if you land on this page, you'll get a pop-up that blinks and it says, click here to learn the truth about Jelly World. So when you press it, it doesn't really do anything like that. It's just like, ha, just kidding. So you get this button and it says, ask me about Jelly World. And the Blumaroo kind of laughs at you a little bit. And he's like, come on, man, you know that Jelly World's not real, right? Like that's kind of like a kid's story. So it's whatever. It's just this kind of unique wearable. Once again, it's not tradable because we don't want people like just out selling these things all the time. But here's the thing. Let's say that you throw it in your safety deposit box and you forget about it for a while, and then someday you're doing like a jelly custom or something, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put this Ask Me About Jelly World wearable on my pet. You thought that it was just a normal wearable, right? No, it's not. So while it's equipped to your pet, within maybe like the first 24, 48 hours, because we don't want this to get like too super annoying, you'll receive between like 5 and 10 automated Neo mails in your inbox with like absurd conspiracy style, like clickbait kind of headlines, like, you know, like top secrets that TNT doesn't want you to know about Jelly World. And when you open them, it just has like, you know, nonsense in there, and you can't really reply to them or anything. It doesn't really do anything. But I just think it would be really funny to have them just showing up in your inbox as you're like scrolling through the site. Like, is Jelly World powering the lab ray? Shocking truth inside. Like, just Jelly World map found in haunted woods. Click here to see pictures. Like, I just love the idea of it being like a tabloid, or like, you know how you Google something one time and then all of a sudden you just have a bunch of shit coming up on like your timelines and your algorithm and stuff like that. So I don't know. In my stupid canon brain, I just feel like that would be amazing. Like, Jelly World citizens spotted at the Altador Cup. Wake up, sheeple, they're among us. Like, I don't know. I just think it would be super fun. Okay, and then this is another one that I would just call mystery goo. You get a jar of like this mystery goo, but then when you go to walk away, like you bang into somebody and it breaks in your pocket. And so he's like, uh-oh, well, you know, like you better wait for that to, you know, harden before you try to clean it up. So it takes up like 10 inventory spaces in your inventory. And for some period of time, a day, a week, I don't know, those 10 inventory slots are no longer available for use. And then after a while, it'll just like, you know, go away, and then you can finally use your inventory again. But I don't know why. I just think that would be kind of a fun dynamic, because it would be super fucking annoying to have something take up 10 of your inventory slots. Can't discard it, can't donate it, can't store it, can't sell it. You just have to fucking wait. Okay, and then for the other 4 slices of this pie, I just wanted to introduce a little bit of chaos, just like add some spice. So I was thinking about the fact that the lab ray can zap you to exclusive things, and I was thinking, how much fun would it be to have a permanent jelly mutation that you could get from this wheel, kind of lab ray style. So whoever your currently equipped pet is would turn jelly permanently, unless you either transferred it or abandoned it, put it in the pound, that kind of thing. I think that it would be a really fun dynamic if the jelly pet only stayed jelly if it stayed with the original owner. And the reason for this is because I don't want this to become another thing that people could just like bot, you know, to try to get a pet that is like that and then try to sell it on a site, or, you know, use it to like manipulate the balance of the trade universe. So yes, I just think that would be super fun. I could imagine how prestigious it would be to have an account that had all jelly pets. That would be so fucking cool. And I mean, that'd be bragging rights, right? That would just be fire. That would be super bragging rights. The next one I think would be kind of fun is to have like a shell game. So if there's like a shell on the wheel and you end up rolling that one, then there goes to like a little flash game that pops up, and it's just a very quick moving shell game that's really hard to keep track of. And if you get it right, then you win, you know, 500K. And if you get it wrong, you get some stupid sarcastic comment like, you know, oh, is life unfair? Like, I never knew. I didn't ask to be gelatinized by this world or something stupid like that. Number 12, this idea also came from Franny, and it's literally fucking genius. Like, I stood up and walked around my office for a second after they said this, but the Jelly Keeper. So how cool would it be to have a new Battle Dome challenger, okay? And you know when you go to the giant jelly and you go to get a piece of the jelly, but you were just a little bit too late, and that walkie pops up and they're like, rawr, fuck you, it's my jelly. So that should be the next Battle Dome challenger, the Jelly Keeper, okay? And you're granted the new Battle Dome challenger. The Jelly Keeper is like available in the Battle Dome. I don't know what level they should be. I feel like they should be really ridiculously high. I feel like that should be a really hard person to kill. And that could also be another opportunity for an avatar. If you killed the Jelly Keeper, that would be super dope. So like it would be kind of multiple steps. Like you have to actually get the Jelly Keeper in the Battle Dome from the wheel, and then you have to go kill the Jelly Keeper, which would be wild. And then for the last one on the wheel, there's always one that's just like, wah, wah. It's like nothing. Like it just fizzles out. It's not good or bad. It's just really neutral. And a lot of them are pterodactyl inspired. So what if there was like a pterodactyl airlift, like a jelly, jelly tour that happened where you win a fabulous prize, like a vacation or something like that is what he says. You immediately, starting now, you win a vacation. And it's just a jelly pterodactyl that swoops down out of the air and picks you up, and it flies you to the giant jelly and just drops you on it. So like, it would just flash window pops up and it's just like, rah, like claws coming at you. And then when you close out of it, you're just on the Jelly World page. So that's really my idea. I mean, it's nothing too crazy groundbreaking, but I think that the Wheel of Insanity would help a little bit with some of the inflation issues that we've been experiencing with the off-balancing of, Neopoint to bot farm ratio. I think that it would operate as a Neopoint sync, so that would be kind of, beneficial in that way. The fact that a lot of the items and things that you would win from the wheel being non-tradable would also help to, alleviate bots wanting to try to take that over and get all of the items from it. And the security measure that I mentioned before about the jigsaw puzzle, I think would be something that would be kind of hard to automate. From a community appeal standpoint, let's be real. Neopians love wheels. We love a Gamba. We love going to a previously forbidden location on the map where this is pixels that I could not click before and now I can. Holy fuck, let me in now and take my Neopoints. I want it. I feel like it's an instant engagement magnet, and being that there are so many exclusive items that you can get from it, people that get those exclusive items early on are going to be so fucking stoked. Like, I could see people making customs out of some of the items that they get and posting it on social media. I could see people gloating about getting the avatars or talking about different strategies and theories that they would have about like different times of the day that it's best to spin it based off of how much it costs. So I think that it would be a really fun dynamic, and it also gives a lot of areas to be able to hide a lot of like coded little secret things about the wheel. Maybe it benefits you to spin it when it is at a certain amount. Like if it costs a certain amount of Neopoints, maybe if you go there and spin it, you're gonna get the avatar like that because that's how it's coded. So I just think it would be super fun. I think that we need to give more things that benefit end game users. I think that we need to get more things that cannot be exploited by bots so that we have stuff that we can continue earning that, is not going to get exploited to cost a whole bunch of money. And I also don't think that it should cost me real money in NC to be able to, get cool customs and get the things that I want. So that's my soapbox. So let me know what you think about this Wheel of Insanity. What would you do to make it better? What punishments would you add to the wheel? What cool prizes or site features would you like to see incorporated in it? I want to know what your ideas are and how you would make it better. So drop them down in the comments below and let me know what you think. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, a great rest of their night, and be safe out there. And above all, stay chilly, my friends.